Can you imagine living with someone that you know is trying to end your life? This hidden camera captures a moment this woman puts bleach inside her husband's coffee maker multiple times a day. This is Robbie Johnson, and he began setting up cameras all around his house when he started to notice that his coffee was tasting a little off. He wasn't really expecting to catch anything, but when he looked back at the footage, he was shocked. His wife Melody is seen pouring a substance inside his coffee maker every single day before he brewed the coffee. Robbie got testing strips, and each time it tested positive for chlorine. At this time, Robbie and Melody were in the process of a divorce, but they were still living together. Robbie pretended to drink his coffee every morning and continued to gather evidence so that he can go to police. But when he showed police all this footage, they said that they couldn't see exactly what Melody was pouring into the coffee maker, so he couldn't prove it. So Robbie had to set up even more cameras around the house with different angles so that it can prove that Melody was in fact poisoning him. Melody was charged with attempted murder, and I bet this guy will never let anyone else make him a coffee again.
AI art is not something that's terribly new, but have you heard about the woman that is haunting AI pictures? This is the face, and nobody can explain why she keeps showing up in AI images. If you look at her, she's not really general. I mean, there are specific characteristics here that are consistent. Again, nobody knows which prompts are generating this woman. Nobody knows why her face continues to appear in different models. So this has opened up one of my favorite questions about the idea that AI pictures can be haunted. And don't forget, if things like this are of interest to you, make sure to go check out the podcast. Katy Perry is coming under fire because her upcoming album, it features Dr. Luke, but a lot of people don't know that Katy Perry is allegedly trapped by Dr. Luke. Apparently, there is a lot going on behind the scenes that many people are not aware of. Little history here. Katy Perry was dropped by Columbia Records back in 2006. 2007, she signed with Capitol Records in 2007 at the age of 22. A part of that deal was that she was going to sign a 6-album production deal with Dr. Luke. Dr. Luke ended up doing her first 2 albums. He did One of the Boys, he did Teenage Dream, and they were massively successful albums, and he began to work on Prism. So Prism came out, and it was extremely successful, and allegedly it's around this time that Luke's services as a producer were bought out by Sony, but he included a clause that he was still going to be able to honor and finish out his 6-album deal with Katy Perry. And it was also around this time that Kesha came forward with the accusations against Dr. Luke. Then came this leak. Allegedly, this is a text exchange between Kesha and Lady Gaga around the time of the accusations, which also alleged that Dr. Luke had assaulted Katy Perry and she was stuck with him. So then we got the release of Witness, which did not feature Dr. Luke at all. And people sort of thought that she would never work with him again, but she had only fulfilled 3 of the 6 contracted albums. Legal predicament here is that Katy Perry signed her deal at 22 and she is now 39, and if she wants to continue having a career in music, she is legally bound to finish out the remaining 3 albums with Luke.
I'm the bad guy.
You're not gonna believe what this guy accidentally caught on camera. Watch carefully. Did y'all see that? It's a pale humanoid figure lurking in the background. Bro encountered like Slender Man or something. Let me know what you guys think this is in the comments below.
So you stumble across what you believe to be human remains near a neighborhood, and your first thought is to take those human remains to Goodwill. That's what happened in Anderson, South Carolina yesterday, June the 23rd, 2024. It is reported that an individual stumbled across what is believed to be human remains in a gravel lot located in or near a high-end subdivision called Grayland in Anderson, South Carolina. And instead of calling law enforcement, this individual takes those human remains to Goodwill, who then calls law enforcement. Law enforcement does believe these remains to be human. They are searching a wooded area that is said to be in a new development in this subdivision, Grayland, in Anderson, South Carolina. They have also called in an anthropologist from Spartanburg County who is assisting in the case, and the remains have been sent to the FBI for DNA identification. As more information becomes available, I'll share it here, so go ahead and hit the follow button if you are not already following. There are 6 different people listed in NamUs who are missing from the Anderson, South Carolina area. I'm not going to list those individuals here because I don't want it to look like I'm speculating that these remains could be one of those individuals. You can do your own research on that.
Nasty fast food facts you didn't want to know. There's most likely other people's poop in your fast food drinks. Scientists tested samples from Burger King, McDonald's, and KFC and discovered that most of the drinks had traces of fecal coli in them. That's poop particles. Although regulation says that your drink should have 0% of poop, samples from different KFCs and Burger Kings had significant amounts. That poses a serious threat to diners. Fountain machines were tested too, and they had about 11% of E. coli. Some restaurants rarely clean their ice machines, and some restaurant workers that handle your ice don't wash their hands. Hope you have fun drinking poop. Like this video if you want a part 2.
In 2014, a man named Martin took this picture of his daughter in Japan. It wasn't until later that he discovered an eerie thing about this photo. When the photo was taken, there was no man standing behind his daughter, yet it appears that there is. Again, if you look closely, you can see a man standing directly behind his daughter. People believe that this is a ghost of a samurai or a World War II soldier. He just happened to catch it on camera while trying to take this cute and innocent photo of his daughter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you believe that this is real?
Cursed games you should never play. Part 14. The Dry Bones game. This game could get you anything you can dream of, but you're putting yourself at risk for losing your mind, being killed, or worse. To prepare, close all the doors and windows in your house, and then turn off all the lights. Begin at exactly 12:01. Go into your bathroom and look into the mirror. Make sure everything is silent. If you hear anything, he is already there. Think of something you want. This will be your prize if you win. Strike a match and wait for it to burn out on its own. If it lasts more than 15 seconds, you may continue. Lie down on the floor and recite these words. I am aware of your presence and I welcome you into my home. Go into the biggest room in your house and wait. To know that the game is officially started, you will hear a moan. If you hear anything else, abort. Once you hear this, run to your hiding spot and stay there, but remain completely silent. Remain in this place until 3 a.m. Once this time comes, go back to the biggest room in your house and say thank you for playing, but you must leave now, you are no longer welcome. If you did this right, you will hear another groan signifying that you won, and your prize will be at the door.
What's good? Today we'll be continuing our series going over the most evil children to ever exist. And the ones I got for you today are, these kids need help. First up on the list, we have Robert Thompson and John Venables. These two kids right here, wow. In the winter of 1993, these two kids became the youngest convicted murderers in the history of England. On February 12, 1993, these two young boys abducted young James Bulger, a 2-year-old, at a shopping mall. And here's the picture of them walking away with the 2-year-old. They then took the boy to a railroad track where they would beat him senseless with an iron bar. The last one we're going to be talking about today is Lionel Tate. On July 28, 1999, Lionel Tate's mother was babysitting a 6-year-old girl. Lionel's mother eventually went upstairs to go watch TV and left the young girl downstairs with Lionel, and this would prove to be a fatal mistake. Lionel continuously stepped on the girl's head and then went upstairs and tried to say it was a wrestling accident.
Creepy people who were caught on camera PT.1.
I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, that was terrific. That was terrific. girls like to read? Do any of you like to read?
No.
No?
I'm interning! I'm dead. I'm done. Yeah, well, you're dead. Yeah, you keep going. Alright, that's it.
Frostbite. You'll keep it for the rest of your life.
I recorded this stuff. You're good. Alright, so good. Can we leave? Like, this booth?
Creepiest home camera of footage PT.3.
The trailer for the new horror movie Smile 2 just came out. And if you remember in 2022, the movie Smile went so viral that literally everyone was talking about it. So I really hope that the sequel will be good because we've been waiting. But I haven't seen the trailer yet, so let's watch it together.
Hello?
No! 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 Get away from me!
What? What is it?
Get away from me!
Louis?
Something really crazy is happening to me. I keep seeing this face everywhere.
You witnessed a death. Now it's latched onto you.
Stop smiling at me!
That's a pretty cool shirt you got. Want me to sign it?
This is one of the most disgusting and evil cases I've ever heard. In February of 2013 in the Bronx, New York, a man was walking his dog at around 4 a.m. when his dog began to sniff around and led the man to a pile of trash bags that were left on the curb. As the man got closer, he realized that there was an awful smell coming from the bags that were sitting on the curb. So he decided to investigate, and lo and behold, he discovered that the bags were full of dismembered body parts. The man then decided to call the police, and after further investigation, the police found multiple different bags full of more dismembered body parts scattered across the city. It would then be discovered that the dismembered body parts would belong to a 45-year-old at-home caregiver by the name of Tanya Bird. Her body parts were placed in multiple heavy-duty trash bags containing everything from her torso to her shoulders to even her head. But guys, if only that was the worst part. You see, police then moved on to contact Tanya's son, Basid McLean, in which he responded that he believed that his mom's abusive ex-boyfriend was the one behind the killing of his mother. But little did the police know that that was not the case. As part of the investigation, police decided to go through Basid McLean's phone to see if he had any connection with his mom's murder. And lo and behold, they discovered a picture of McLean smiling in a selfie while holding his mom's decapitated head in his left hand. Yes, this is the picture of McLean holding his mom's decapitated head like it's a trophy, and of course it's blurred because we're not going to show the actual picture on here. After this, though, he was actually sentenced to 25 years in prison, but wait, it gets crazier. You see, years prior, before he was arrested, Basid McLean was actually married to a woman named Vera McLean, in which him and her had a 4-year-old son together. And about a year into McLean's prison sentence, he gets a call while in jail that his ex-wife, Vera McLean, is being charged with murder after beating their 4-year-old son to death with a broomstick. She was then sentenced to 17 years in prison. So one of them killed their mother, dismembered her body, and then flaunted her head in a selfie, and the other one beat their son to death with a broomstick. That's a pretty twisted couple, if you ask me.
Have you guys heard about the disturbing murder of the 3 Girl Scouts? This is the unsolved murder case of 9-year-old Michelle Gus, 10-year-old Doris Milner, and 8-year-old Lori Farmer. On June 12, 1977, 140 Girl Scouts ages 8 to 18 went to Camp Scott in Oklahoma for 2 weeks. Camp Scott was super popular in the town, but in 1977, nobody was prepared for what was going to happen. The very first night that the girls went to sleep in their tents, Lori, Michelle, and Doris slept together in tent 8. The next morning at 6 a.m., a counselor found the lifeless bodies of the 3 young girls a short distance from their tent. All 3 girls had been sexually assaulted and badly beaten. Lori and Michelle had been bludgeoned while Doris was strangled to death. Now get this, 2 months before the trip, a training session was held at Camp Scott and something very alarming happened. A counselor's cabin was ransacked and a disturbing note was found in an empty box of donuts. The note said, "We are on a mission to kill 3 girls in tent 1. Even though this note was strange and upsetting, the camp administrators dismissed the entire thing as a prank. The night that the 3 girls were murdered, a camp counselor remembered hearing strange moaning, so she got up and looked around but didn't find anything unusual. The main suspect was an escaped convict that police were desperately looking for, and his name is Gene Leroy Hart. He had been convicted of kidnapping and sexually assaulting 2 pregnant women in the past. Gene was captured 10 months later, but regardless of all the evidence found against him, he was not found guilty by the jury. When Gene was sent back to prison for his original crime, he collapsed and died from a heart attack just 2 months later. A chilling statement was made by Doris's 5-year-old little sister just minutes before she left to the camp. Doris's little sister asked their mom, "Mommy, what happens when people die?" And their mom tried to explain what happens after death, and that's when the little sister responded with, "Yeah, but everyone's gonna die tomorrow." I don't know about you guys, but that is super creepy. These murders remain some of the state's most disturbing unsolved cases.
Jeffrey Epstein lived in this house in the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and it's been stated that this is the largest private residence in New York. While Epstein was alive, he was visited at this house by a number of famous politicians and celebrities, including infamously Prince Andrew, who claimed nothing happened while he was there. I think the artwork on the house is a little eerie, to say the least, and I'm sure it's symbolic in its own way. Now, multiple bodyguards and people have gone on the record and said that inside of Epstein's house, there was a brain room, or a room filled floor to ceiling with security monitors. This would mean that every single inch of Jeffrey Epstein's house was being videotaped or photographed at every moment. And still to this day, there are tons of cameras on the exterior. I myself was a little freaked out after standing in front of this house knowing that I was just captured on like 5 different angles. But this would mean that all of the trafficking, the assaults against minors that happened in this house, all of that was caught on camera. And that's true, it was, because Epstein was running a blackmail operation. It's too much to get into now, but if you want to hear me expose the true story, you can listen to the first episode of my show, The Conspiracy Files, on all platforms.